We have quite an exciting and insightful episode to follow where we lightly touch on some new subjects.
We'll have a chat about some classic and modern wagons.
We talk about some special one-offs.
And then at the end, we'll be rating cars in our PT Cruiser segment.
So we have changed locations. As you can see, we are not
Anywhere that
in a
we've been
restaurant.
before.
We are not anywhere where there are cars behind us, unfortunately.
We've got cars. But
We have got some cars. We've got
Martin. Yeah, I was about to say we've got Martin's
yes, remember,
first car.
Yeah, we've got a tractor. We've got a, what do you call this? Not a fire truck. Like
Pickup, tow truck.
Yeah,
tow
truck. We've got a Landy.
We've got a Landy, and then we've
The
got...
trusty Landy.
I think this was a Ford at some time.
It may have been a Hilux, but it looks like a Ford for me.
I don't know.
A Ford F-150, old one. But we've got some cars behind us.
Umbrella.
Unfortunately, they are not working. They are not active, but that's also fine. We are active. We are here. So welcome. This is episode
723.
125. And we are so glad to have you here. We want to thank you for all your people listening in, viewing, watching on YouTube, subscribing. It just makes it worth it for us to make this content for you guys. And yes, of course, you'd love to see guests too. Why only see our faces? That's a question I also ask myself quite often.
I mean, even I get tired of my own face. I can just imagine how you guys feel.
So how do you, I don't know how you go about watching our videos and at the end being like, oh, I want more. But you are at the moment wanting more, and that's amazing. So we promise that our next episodes will include guests, definitely. It's a bit of a difficult time. Some people are very busy, much more busy than usual. This is more toward the end of the lockdown of the COVID-19 season. So people are getting increasingly more busy. Hence it might be a bit more difficult for us to have guests on, but that's fine. That will come right. We will find a solution. Don't worry about it. We want the best content for you guys. All right. And what a privilege we have today to talk about cars. Talk about the most insane cars. Enlighten you in some special stuff, some stuff you are not going to see on the roads. So stuff you have probably seen on the road, some stuff that just gets you excited, you know, some real car stuff. So what a privilege for us. And of course, this is not our job, so we'd love to have it as our jobs.
Exactly.
But
one day,
let me actually encourage you on that. Of course, we ask you to share, we ask you to like and subscribe, and we do it for good reason. It's not just because everybody else does it. When you share, when you subscribe, and you like every time on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, the podcast actually goes a bit up in the ranks. It actually has a greater chance of being shown on your home screen or being suggested or recommended, and that just gets out the podcast to other people and to people who actually like cars. You know, we want to spread the joy after you listen to this podcast. We want you to be smiling. So let's keep people smiling. I mean,
keep people smiling.
There's a lot
tell bad jokes and interesting stories.
Yes,
exactly.
And our faces. Laugh at our faces.
Laugh at our faces. That's another thing you can laugh at.
But yes, welcome. We are so excited to have you here. As we said, we're going to have some special, not guests, but conversations today. And I want to start off by just touching lightly. Slightly touching on what is news today. So of course when this comes out, this might be almost irrelevant or a bit dated, but that's also fine. I want to lightly touch on, so we spoke about the GMA T50, the T50 by Gordon Murray, when we had our podcast with Marius Boonzaaier, and we already said, listen, this is insane. Like, it's definitely going to happen. I feel it's going to happen.
There's some other podcasters that had some interesting
some
opinions. Doubts and opinions that we don't necessarily agree with.
But we are hopeful, you see. We are definitely hopeful that this will happen because this will be the epitome of driving pleasure. No, not
definitely.
even BMW
this is like
can to provide this experience.
The whole Lotus lineup on steroids in one car.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
But Gordon Murray has gone and killed the game again.
He's been hit over the head by a rock again.
He has been hit over the head. He has fell off a waterfall or something has happened.
Lost his rockers.
He has, as the rappers say, or the kids these days, he has spitted the facts. He has thrown some bars. You know.
There we go.
So he has thrown some facts out or said some statements that slightly shocked me when I read it. So I just want to read it to you. So the Gordon Murray association or automotive, Gordon Murray Automotive, is designing a T50s. So this is like the hardcore track car of the T50. If the T50 wasn't hardcore enough,
how?
I mean,
Just why?
if the T50 was a Golf, he wanted to design a Golf GTI DCR. Okay, if this thing is road legal, it probably will be. I'm not totally sure, but let me just So of course the T50, which is still to come out, weighs about, it has 620 something horsepower,
and
weighs about 984 kilograms, which is extremely light. Gordon Murray went and said, but no, Luke, actually this is a bit too heavy. I feel there could be some more weight shed.
I remember we mentioned it in the previous, or in that episode when we talked about the T50, and we said Gordon Murray loves weight watching meetings, but it's not for himself, it's for his cars, and he does one at least every week. And now he's just kept on going with his meetings, although he's technically finished the car and he's done this.
Yeah.
So what's the weight on that now?
So he has, So he said T50s will increase its power to about 720 horsepower with the same engine, and of course a bit more aero bits. It now weighs 894 kilograms.
And it has 720
horsepower, 894. Now it's not 1-to-1, but if you take the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, for instance, okay, that's about just under 1,001 kilograms. Well, 1,100 kilograms. Okay, so it's still extremely light, but this thing weighs 894 kilograms.
That's insane. I mean,
896 or something.
Yeah.
But basically, he threw out 94 kilograms from an already extremely light car. Like not even a Ford Fiesta weighs 984 kilograms. So.
Did he take out the seats and everything?
I just ask myself, is he throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Because how much more is it to take out?
Yeah,
he said there's only like one or two things he compromised in terms of weight, which is one, the enamel badge because it looks cool, and then magnesium caps on the engine and not carbon caps because it just holds better in terms of looks. So where else do you cut weight? What do you do? What do you use instead of
Don't
carbon
paint
fiber?
the car. You can use, I don't know if a carbon graphite is lighter than carbon fiber. It might be because it's not woven.
Yeah, that's
so maybe you replace it with another material.
Fiber.
Talk to NASA or something and get yourself some aerospace.
Yeah, so I don't know what type of technology or materials he's using, but I really
the car looks stunning.
Really hope it comes to life.
It looks even better than just the standard T50.
Because I just think of the company Fisker. Now, Fisker was a sort of wannabe competitor to Tesla, and they had the most insane statistics for their cars, 1 million miles of range from like a 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter battery, some crazy stuff like that. And it just never came to be. I remember Justin Bieber was even an ambassador for the brand. But anyway, that just never came to be. I'm also thinking of, there's quite a few brands that just, mention stuff and didn't happen. But I trust Gordon Murray. But last time I was so shocked in terms of weight loss from a car was when the Pagani Huayra, the Roadster, came out, and it was 40 kilograms lighter than the normal Pagani Huayra, which is very weird. Yeah, because usually a Roadster is much more, weighs much more because of the extra, the roof going up, the mechanisms and stuff. So
all the extra additives that goes into.
I don't know what he drank or where he fell, but if this car comes to be,
it'll be something.
Yeah, it'll be something insane.
Yeah.
So. Also, another interesting fact on the T50s, at, I don't know how many miles per hour, I can actually try and find it, but I think it's like, okay, so with all the ground effect, with the adjustable diffusers, front splitters, existing fan, whatever, with all that in place on high aero mode, at its maximum it can generate 1,500 kilograms of downforce.
Oh, I saw this, and he said technically, if you like driving in tunnels, you can flip it upside down.
Now, many cars are like, at 190 miles per hour, you can like the Aston Martin Vulcan.
Yeah,
190 miles per hour, you can basically drive against the ceiling because it's precisely the same amount of downforce in terms of kilograms. But they even had a run with 1,900 kilograms of downforce, which is. Astonishing. Apparently, So I really hope this happens. It's crazy. It boggles my mind. I can't
comprehend it.
But it's insane. So well done. You know,
Gordon Murray
let's give him
Automotive.
mad. Let's give him mad.
You've done it
Anyway.
again.
So, let me just take a sip of the coffee.
Of the wonderful coffee that we have here in this new amenity of...
So we're trying something new instead of water. We wanted to chat about some very special one-offs. So these are cars that are designed specifically and exclusively for a customer that commissioned a very special order from a company. So, you know, usually it is a customer going to a company and saying, listen, I've been a trusted customer for some time. Can I maybe design my own car? So they take a base road car they already have, and then from there on, they just go wild as the customer likes it. Or the brand just says, okay, let's just build a one-off to show the people what we can do and be like,
yeah, but it can be
this
anything.
thing's not hitting the road, you know?
Even be concepts and stuff that they made one off and then they just didn't put it into production, and you've got this one rolling chassis of a car and stuff like that. And
so these are cars that are either put in production or not put in production, but specifically and strictly one-offs. And we want to enlighten you in this because, well, why we do this podcast is to, well, make you interested in cars and make you appreciate cars. And these aren't cars that you often see on the road. This is not your typical Golf GTI.
No.
This is not your typical Nissan 370Z. Like, there's no owners club of these cars. You know, there's only one. Like, it's me, myself, and I. Not me.
Yeah,
him,
well, yeah.
or, you know, so well done for them.
Yeah.
So I think, Luke, you can start off with your one. We chose two special ones we wanted to chat about. But yeah, Luke, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so the first one that I have is the BMW M1 Homage. Came out in 2008, and there's one of them in the world. And it's in a museum, and you pay to go and see it, and that's it.
Wow, that's amazing. You pay to go and see it.
It's it's a stunning car. It had the same thing, and we discussed this as well when we talked about the M1, but the racing in the 70s with the twin badges at the side. So they incorporated that because it would have been the next generation of that M1.
Yeah, it's what it could have been.
Exactly. And they incorporated those two badges on the side again, so you still have the car with the two BMW badges on the side. It's a stunning car. It's extremely aggressive for that era of BMWs. It's way ahead of its time. The interior makes me think of like a 7 Series from the new generation, maybe even the previous generation. It's ahead of its time. And people refer to it as well as the... you can have a look there. Looks
like what you would think a new version M1 would be, but
exactly.
Also I see some i8.
That's the thing. It's the big brother of the i8. It's i8. What I know. It's the thing is, what do you do with an icon? It's the same thing like with the Defender and stuff. How do you take it further? Because you can probably do it the same and people like it because it's cool and stuff, but it won't be the same as, say, the 70s M1. So having this, it is the predecessor of what the i8 would have been. And this one also had gull-wing doors and the whole works, these insane rims.
So did the M1 Homage, was that released before the i8?
Yes, it was released before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. Then
so
it makes sense why there's certain design elements from the i8.
So it's
basically the i8's interior.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can see that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we'll show you guys pictures of that as well. But it was just this like thing of saying, what can we do? We do this, and we'll take it further, but not in the way that you think we'll do.
Yeah.
And taking the purebred racing machine that they had in the 70s, and in a sense taking that design of what they incorporate into this M1, and then taking it to the i8. Oopsie, my umbrella.
Okay, the umbrella.
It stopped raining now. It's fine.
It's fine.
So it's just a stunning car. It was mid-engine. There's not a lot of things about what engine or anything is in that, but I think it didn't matter. It was just a rolling chassis that they used and displayed.
Do you like how it looks?
I love it.
Okay,
I love it. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I think this is fantastic. You see, BMW. If you had just stuck with the old way of designing your grills, then we wouldn't have the issues of the new 4 Series that you guys released.
Listen, I don't know what's going on there, but it has taken some slimmers drops.
Yeah.
And it's grown a bit. It's shot out like a high school boy, like very short, and then suddenly, like he just shoots up and just doesn't gain any weight, you know. So.
It's a pity they didn't put this into production. I think it would have been nice if they put a straight 6 in it. But
I don't know. It wouldn't have been
the
the
price-
M1 homage. Like it wouldn't have been. You should have.
Yeah.
You should have called it something else.
Something
So,
else. I like it's definitely not what anything related. Well, obviously it's the name, and they say this is the M1, and you've got the badges and stuff, but it's not what you think of when you think of the M1.
Yeah.
So it's a stunning car, nonetheless. I think if they did a few, it would have been nice, but not a thing that I think they'll do or revive or anything, since the i8 has come and gone.
Yeah.
So where do you go from here? But Martin,
Well, you designed the M8.
you design the M8.
And that's what you do.
Exactly. And I mean, that's a stunning car.
Yeah, I really like the M8.
M8.
They stepped up, definitely.
Yeah, they stepped up.
So
I have another BMW coming in a bit, but we'll get to that.
yeah. Oh, of course, there's a BMW coming. Anyway.
Sorry, guys.
So interesting. Also affiliated to BMW is Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce is under the BMW group.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they use some of the engines and mechanics and techniques and such. But this is not close to any BMW that you've ever seen. So the car I've chosen is the Rolls-Royce Sweptail. Have you heard of it? Probably, maybe. 40% chance.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing is, as I said, it's a customer who came to Rolls-Royce and said, listen, I like the Phantom. But I also like the Phantom drop head. But I'd rather like a coupe. And I'd like it my way. I don't like the rear benches. I don't want to have seats. I don't really have kids. I just want to have a wooden bench because it looks better. And I like your old designs, especially the more swept tail designs. That's why it's called a swept tail.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't want a number plate. I want you to basically build in the number plate with the car. So the outside of the car includes the number plate basically engraved. Well, not even engraved. It just pops out. So the number plate number is 08. But yeah, extremely, extremely special car. So before and I'll touch on this a bit later, but Bugatti released their La Voiture Noire. La Voiture Noire.
We'll just write it out there at the bottom.
This just takes me back to Lotus Evija. But anyway. Vija. Ninja. But yeah, so before the Bugatti released the La Voiture Noire, Rolls-Royce had the most expensive new car in the world, and this was this car. So I think it was like 10 million pounds, which is in rands 200 and something million. Yeah. So extremely expensive. New car. Just take note, it's the most expensive new car. But yeah, extremely long. You can clearly see the Phantom in this. This is the Phantom's base.
Makes me think
This
of
is the
Maybach
Phantom's
land
engine.
yachts.
Yeah, basically. No. This is nothing else than a yacht with wheels on.
Yeah.
Just look at the wooden bench in the rear. Just look
Everything
at the
is-
lights in the front. The
It's
sleekness
literally-
of the grille.
Put a sail on that, you'll be able to go across Europe without using fuel.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably.
So I actually like the rear of this car. Like the Sweptail design does look very cool. They said it took about 10 to 12 months to build this car. Now, I mean, to just build this car, just imagine the amount of man hours it takes.
Everything is built by hand because they don't have anything. They can't put this on a production line and finish the chassis.
They basically took a raw, naked Phantom, which is already an insanely good,
intricate and
luxurious car, and they just built from there. So the front is a bit different, the rear is a lot more different, the side profile is a bit more different. There wasn't anything like a Phantom coupe, only the drop head. So they just took it from there. And I mean, I was just wondering, the guy who bought this, of course, this would be his daily driver, but not even. Like, his daily driver would probably be his chauffeur driving him in a normal Phantom, and this would just be in the garage or even in your dining hall, like in the middle. I would definitely put this in my house.
Next to your concert
This
grand
is a piece of art.
on your marble flooring.
Yeah.
And your
So with
Persian-
your turntable, of course.
Your turntable.
So it is a very special car. As
Like
I said,
Iron Man display kind of vibe.
Yeah,
That's what you
Iron
probably
Man
do with
one,
this
like
car.
on the definitely. I approve. So
Improve.
technical aspects, does it even matter? It has a 6.75 liter V12, same one as in the Phantom.
It's not like you're going to rip this around
No.
anyway.
No, it's not like he's going to straight pipe it or tune it or anything. It would be cool. But yeah, you can clearly see how Rolls-Royce artisan techniques and exclusivity and luxuriousness, and they just do luxury like no other car brand. Like you and I often speak about Rolls-Royce versus Bentley.
Yeah.
And what do we take? Of course, at our age, we want to take the Bentley because it's a bit more sporty. But with the new Ghost also that come out now, beautiful car.
Yeah.
But they just do luxury on a different level.
Yeah, no, it's an attention
Like
to
really,
detail.
yeah.
I've been watching a few documentaries, these short films that they do where they take you through the factory. It's like a 20-minute video, and then there's no extra audios or people talking. It's just you see people working in the Rolls-Royce factory, doing this stuff with their hands, the leather work, the woodwork, the amount of woodwork that goes into designing a dashboard. It's insane.
Yeah.
It takes so long, and the attention to detail on that is phenomenal. So
And
they lead the market by far.
You know,
Like,
those people, the factory workers, people work on the production line. These are not your average Joes. These are not
no.
guys who just came out of school and, helps put the parts together because robots do the rest. These are people who have been working in the
artists.
trade. They are literally artists.
Like, it's from generation to generation. There's one guy, a pinstripe painter. His grandfather was one, his dad was one, and now he's one, and he stays with that. He's, I think he works for Triumph or something for the motorbikes and the fuel tanks. He does the smallest pinstripe that you can think of, and he does it so effortlessly.
Wow.
And it's just like this generational thing. So it's not just someone that thought, okay, I'm going to go work in a car factory now, or whatever.
Yeah.
They are artists at what they do.
So
They know what they do.
just also, I'm thinking of Ferrari now. So basically, all of their cars, besides the Roma that was released now, have a badge on the side of the car, and you can either choose enamel or painted. Now, a lot of people choose the painted option. Now, it is expensive, but it's because it's hand painted. You can literally see how it's like. Of course, it
doesn't look bad, and
it's lacquered over, so there's no like bump or
it's
you
lacquered
can't
over.
Lacquered over, yeah. It's very lacquered over.
Lekker over.
Sorry, but yeah, it's lacquered over, so you can't in any way feel the paint, but it's like. You wouldn't think it's hand painted.
Yeah,
you'd think it's a digital render,
or it's a machine or something that does this. It's really.
It is to be appreciated. I would, now that I think about it, why drive it?
If I had that kind of money, I wouldn't design something like this, but I can appreciate this.
Yeah. But I would like an engine in it still, just to have an engine in it. So, well done, Rolls-Royce.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
We say once again, well done.
It's really to be appreciated. And I don't think people necessarily appreciate what goes on behind the scenes building something like this. 10 million price tag. I know it's, you look at it and be like, wow.
But it's not something they're going to sell in a showroom because it's just for this guy.
They could have plucked out any amount out of the air. Like the guy would have paid it. So yeah, Luke, next one.
Next one. It's not technically a once-off because it failed and it burnt and it destroyed itself and that was the end of it and they scrapped it. But it's so in that sense, like the previous two, it's not that the car manufacturer made it knowing it would be a once-off.
Yeah.
This was just per chance and by circumstance, that this car was made. But anyway, it's the Mazda. Now we're coming again to a name that is pronounced Furai. Okay, Mazda Furai. That's so wrong.
No.
In many ways. Anyway, the point is, the next generation of Mazda. It was supposed to be the next generation of Mazda racing, released in 2008, with a 3-rotor engine. It was probably one of the best rotary engines. The sound was just phenomenal. 3-rotor Wankel engine.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was like, what do they call it in the RX-7 or RX-8?
No, it's, I think...
Is it the same type of engine?
It's the same type of rotary engine, yeah.
Rotary engine, yeah.
Yeah, rotary engine, yeah. But this was the 3-rotor Wankel engine, referring to the German engineer that was the brains...
Dieter Wankel?
I think so. I can check the name for you.
Can't remember. Anyway.
Felix Wankel.
Felix.
Another German name.
Felix.
Almost there. Sorry, Felix. We'll get it next time.
Yeah.
He was the father of rotary engines in the 1960s. Developed those and
very clever design, actually.
Yeah, really, really clever
like
design.
The concept
Not the
of
most
that
fuel
engine.
efficient, but
no. Very compact.
Yeah, very compact and powerful as well. I mean,
and you had very high revving engines.
So
small displacement.
They had the car. It ran on ethanol.
Oh wow!
Of course, it was a monster. It looks insane.
Like the Koenigseggs.
But
wow.
it's just there's a I don't know. That's a fat fly.
Very fat fly.
Jeepers.
I'm sorry. I apologize for those listening. But anyway,
fly.
you may go ahead. Fury.
Yeah, they released in 2008, and they tested it for a while, and they handed the keys over of this. They had one car, one running prototype, finished and everything, and that was what they tested with, and it was doing great and fine. And then they handed the keys over to Top Gear to test it, and it went over the hill of, I'm going to tell you. Oh, they were doing a photo session at an Air Force base in the UK, and the driver was Mark. I'm going to butcher his surname, Mark Ticehurst.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark Ticehurst. I
Top Gear presenter?
No, I think it was just a test driver for Top Gear at the time. And
that's
he was smelling smoke from the engine bay.
Was this before or after the crash?
No. There wasn't a crash.
Oh,
sorry, I don't know. No, it wasn't a crash. It was. Sorry if I said it was a crash. I was mistaken. It's not a crash. The engine something happened, and the whole car literally burnt out before they could actually get to him and extinguish it. And they just lost everything, and they scrapped the whole project.
And the guy?
The guy was fine. No, he got. The minute he smelled the smoke, he got out of the car, and then he signaled. And from the time that it took the marshals to whoever was
everything
there
was gone.
To get there, the whole car was just burnt to scrap.
No, that's sad.
And they lost everything, the designs, and then Mazda.
I remember this concept. It was quite some time ago, even
2008
the prototype.
Yeah, it
was on the road.
Yeah, no, it was. It's a pity because this was supposed to be the next generation of the 787B, which was the absolute four-rotor monster.
Because I know Mazda also had a race car, like a LMP1 or LMP2 race car, or LM race car basically, that had a flat 4 engine. And it had the most insane pure racing car, like race car sound, like, unadulterated, like there's nothing stopping it at all because it's a race car. So that was insane sound. But of course, I don't think that was a Wankel engine or
they had the 787B had a 4-rotor, but I think it was also a Wankel engine. I'm not entirely sure. That raced Group C. And this thing was like the pinnacle of Group C racing at the time in the 90s, so 1991 and 92.
Yeah.
And the Fury was supposed to be the next generation of Mazda racing. And it just completely fell away, and it didn't happen.
And from there, Mazda didn't really continue in terms of racing development.
It's a pity, and I mean, you still have people that modify Mazdas to an extreme. I'm gonna quickly get one. I remember this now. Of a guy, I think his name is David Baum. I think with an RX-7 4-rotor, and I think 1,250 horsepower or something.
That sounds like engine problems to me.
Exactly. So,
but while you find that car, I think I'm going to continue with.
Sounds good to me.
So this week, I don't know when you're listening to this, but this week, Aston Martin dropped a bomb, and they were like, "Yeah, this is another one-off." So you can refer this back to the Vulcan being like, I don't know, a Vulcan continuation or Vulcan 2.0, but it's actually not. The Aston Martin Victor.
Aston Martin Victor.
Yeah. The Aston Martin Victor is actually one-off built for a customer. Not entirely sure why this is built, but it's everything you love in a car, like everything you love of Aston Martin, everything you love of driving, this is it. So the Aston Martin Victor, to take the name back, Victor Gauntlet is what it's referring to, and he was the boss of Aston Martin during the time of the very boxy Mustang-like Vantage V8, well, Vantage. So that Vantage basically looked like a British muscle car. It was a British muscle car. It was a British version of a Mustang, just much more sophisticated. So very like round lights in the front, boxy look. You could have mistaken it for any other American muscle car at the time if you were not so into your cars. And So they refer this car back to him. You can clearly see some design elements, such as the boxy look in the front, the round headlights, the ductile spoiler in the rear.
Old Vantage go up the Goodwood hill climb the other day while in the video. And to be honest, I never knew that
was a Vantage.
That was a Vantage.
You wouldn't think of it.
No.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see coming from that now, and I'm having that picture in my head now and looking at this, and it makes complete sense. But
so you can clearly see from the rear, from the front, there are elements from the Vantage.
Yeah.
But three other cars contribute to this car that just makes it insane. It's a bit of a Frankenstein car, but it just all fits perfectly. So the Vantage is one. The Aston Martin 177 is also another one. So this car, the 177 is about 10 years old. There was only 77 made of this car. Very, very special car. Unbelievably beautiful. Still to this day. It had a 7.3 litre V12. No, what? Was it 7? No, it's a 7.3 litre V12. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 7.3 litre V12.
Huge.
If I'm wrong, it's probably a 7 litre then. But it's a massive engine. Cosworth developed. So now you know it's a good engine.
Yeah, I was about to say, when Cosworth gets into the picture, then you know you've got something sorted.
So, of course, there were only 77 made. Aston Martin still had a prototype running around somewhere there. We're like, come, 77, come. They called them back and then just stripped them apart. And basically had a bare naked 177, totally reworked the engine. So previously the engine had 559 kilowatts. Now the engine has 623 kilowatts. So even more powerful than the 820 horsepower Vulcan. So crazily reworked. So that's where the 177 comes in. It's basically the 177 base. You can clearly see the Vulcan side exit exhaust. Some of the parts of the rear and the front deck lid also as it goes down, like basically it's like a shark just attacking.
You can
that's how it looks. You can clearly see the Vulcan.
Yes.
Also Valkyrie inspiration, what they learned from the Valkyrie. Oh, please let the Valkyrie happen. Like, oh please, may this not die down.
But you not talk about once-offs in the next episode again, maybe.
Yeah, let's just take a moment of silence for the Valkyrie.
Okay.
Thanks. So you can clearly see the Valkyrie in the rear lights, a bit in the front. They took some technology or techniques, something they learned from the Valkyrie, definitely implemented that. But there's one thing in that car that just sets it apart. You can't take it back to any other Aston Martin. It just sets it apart. It actually makes me think of like a Singer 911 or like a Lotus Exige. So it has a 6-speed manual.
I was about to say it has to be the gearbox.
Yeah,
I was just thinking
of
now.
course it has to be the gearbox. So 6-speed gearbox in a 623 kilowatt car, 820 Newton meters. Like, the thing is just of course the gearbox will be able to control that power, but it's insane. And how insane that they actually took the V12, a screaming V12, and they put in a manual gearbox into it. But if you look inside the car, you can actually see the gating and the mechanics of the manual. That makes it so special, because that's why I refer it to Singer. That's why I refer it to Lotus Exige and such, because you can see the inner workings of the manual as you shift it. Like, that must be just the most satisfying experience.
Thing to see, and having that experience while you're driving is insane.
Very, very well done to Aston Martin for this, because it's insane. It's unbelievably beautiful. And I really hope to one day see another kind of thing, another kind of car similar to this, because will we ever see this car? Probably at, on YouTube videos, on car shows, shows like, or events like the Concours d'Elegance, your very fancy exclusive shows and such. But I'm just in love with this car and everything it represents.
No, it's a stunning car. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. So
well done. Just to quickly add before we go on to the next thing is the guy's name is Rob Dom, and he took a quad rotor or 4-rotor engine, turbocharged it as far as I can see, and it's an all-wheel drive RX-7. Built this thing into with a lot of thousands of dollars later on. Put it on the dyno and 1,014 horsepower.
Yes, see.
From a quad rotor engine. This thing is
special.
Even just looking at that,
you
can see that. Like, it's honestly, it's insane. So
they didn't even have to put a hood on it.
Exactly.
Just leave it like that.
So where Mr. Wankel was the the grandfather. This is now the new one. He's taking
This
over.
is the
Rob
crazy
Dom.
cousin.
The crazy cousin, exactly. He's putting his steps into the Rotary world.
But let's move on to our next part, and we're also very excited to chat about this because we could have chatted about it in last episode, but we just went on rambling.
We talk too much nonsense in
Of course we do. But we wanted to chat about wagons. And firstly,
States, wagons.
like we can go on forever.
Bread vans, no, I'm joking.
About why wagons and bread vans and minivans are better than SUVs, and why SUVs really don't have a place in this world when
Except
there are
for
wagons.
like a track hawk or
You're like, but what
something
about
like that.
off-roading, sitting a bit higher?
yeah.
i4 Quattro, E400 all-terrain,
Volvo XC. Oh, is it the
Bentley
V90?
Continental Safari Edition. I don't know. That is a thing.
That is
Jeremy
a
Clarkson
thing.
has one.
Yeah, I saw one in Cape Town the other day as well. So people are doing it with those things. I mean,
So, but in terms of wagons versus SUVs, where are you standing?
a bit of both. Obviously, like I like SUVs. SUVs are great and it's commanding driving position and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
sitting high like it is.
but
That's so good.
like wagons are good, obviously, and they're very capable.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things with them. Can't obviously do what you can do with some SUVs and stuff. So I think
Fair.
they're in their own spectrums of what you can do and what they are.
But a lot of what people use SUVs for these days can be done by estates.
Yeah.
Driving your kids to school.
So for example, I'll take an Audi RS4 over a Q7, but then I'll take the Q8 over the RS6.
Okay, I see
That
what
kind
you
of
mean. I
kind
see
of
what
thing,
you
yeah.
mean. I
Just
see what
to
you mean.
give it comparison. And
Yeah.
I saw an RS4 yesterday, brand new one rolled out
Oh,
there.
wow.
It was
Beautiful.
in black. It was very stunning. Anyway,
Okay, so we each chose a modern classic or a bit of an older wagon, and then a modern wagon that we would choose. So, of course, we don't know each other's choices, and we decided to hold it that
as per
way.
usual,
But we may end up with the same car.
possibly.
We don't know, but we won't ramble on as much on this segment. Just
quickly
to-
discuss them,
just to
say
quickly
what they
discuss
are,
it,
and
and of course Peter Cruiser will
Yeah.
follow. But I think I'll start. So my classic or modern classic wagon, and this may not come as a shock, 2004 E55 AMG Estate, Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG Estate. This car has the quarter mile time of a 612 Scaglietti Ferrari. It's extremely fast, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour.
Mhm.
It has more space than your average SUV, aka Porsche Cayenne,
Mhm.
and it has a supercharger, 5.4 liter supercharged V8, unbelievable raw sound. It has about 350 kilowatts, just an insane car. I'm just loving everything about it, except the maintenance and repair bills, because oh my word, you can find this car. You can find these cars for not too expensive. I don't have
But
prices
just
now,
to keep it running is
just to keep it running, that's like the bottom of the repair bill is the worst part of this car. There's nothing else you can fault it with. Don't tell me there's something wrong with this car. It's only what it costs, because of course, old mechanics, old technology gets old, gets expensive to replace. So that's my classic. Like, Luke, what do you have?
I've got a Volvo 850R.
A Volvo 850R.
A Volvo 850R.
Very
you know,
boxy
that's
car.
a very boxy car.
Yeah.
Started out as the T5. Had a 2.3 liter turbocharged. Have to
Four.
check, yeah. 2.3 liter turbocharged engine.
4-cylinder,
5, inline 5.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
And then after the T5 came the 850R. It had the same engine but a bit
Oh,
more
wow.
horsepower.
Why 850 though? Okay.
Volvo, you know, weird Volvo 90s,
Like
40s,
not,
60s.
it's not 850 horsepower.
No.
Not
It's
850.
250
Okay.
horsepower from the inline 5. Also, again, in a 2 liter and a 2.3 liter.
But it's quite an old car.
It is an old car. It's from the 90s,
Yeah.
92, 93.
Yeah, that's early.
So, yeah, no, it's a proper racer.
Why the 850?
It
why the
looks
850
great
R?
for that era.
Okay.
It's,
So you
and
like
it's
the
and you
boxy
you don't see that boxy style of wagons racing around on a track with a fixed wing and slicks like this, riding on I think 18 or 19 inch wheels or something.
Oh.
You don't see that, and the
It's
sound
crazy,
as
yeah.
well. I mean, inline 5 turbocharged. It's a proper sound.
It is a
from-
surprisingly good sound.
yeah. So
Audi
that-
also
yeah,
get it right with their
great
5,
racing
but-
car. It looks I think.
Will you take it around the track? Definitely.
Definitely.
You will strip out the rear seats, not put a passenger in, put a roll cage in, and you will go around the track.
0 to 60, I think, was like 7 seconds or something.
Yeah, but without any seats, it's like 5.
In the manual, the automatic was slower. They had a 5-speed manual, so stick to the manual, guys. You see, we like manuals.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the classic that I have.
So my new BMW. I just spilled the beans. My new estate that I would go out and buy. Now I'm of course the E55 is raw. It's crazy sound. Very cool car. Quite rowdy, quite mad, but that's also fine. When I have a modern estate, of course the BMW M3 came out, and although I'm not a massive BMW fan, the M3 is I can't wait for it to be released, but I'm a bit more sophisticated. I like this sleeper kind of look, like you don't know what my car can do, you know. Not too much about hard suspension and such. I'd rather have a more comfortable ride, but still extremely fast and capable. So I've gone for the Alpina B5. So the Alpina B5 Touring, So 4.4 liter V8.
The best green that BMW or Alpina has ever put on a car.
Yes, see, I am crazy about a dark metallic, like almost British racing green, color of the Aston Martin Victor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Alpina B5, it's not the M5 Touring because there is no new M5 Touring. This is basically what it could have been. But Alpina focus on making it the most comfortable GT cruiser, but extremely capable. Like, you want to travel at 200 miles or 200 kilometers, even miles per hour in this car. You want to travel extremely fast in the Autobahn in this car because it's very comfortable, very quick, fast enough to go around corners when there are corners. Not a very stiff ride and very unassuming. You won't think it's quick at all.
It looks like a casual estate coming by, BMW estate.
I'm quite a big fan of that, although I don't really like BMWs in general. This car is very quick, like 0 to 100, 3.6 seconds. Has quite a lot of power. Let me just get it. It's quite heavy. It's just over 2 tons, as you would expect from an estate. 447 kilowatts. It's enough. Much more than the E55, but yeah, that's mine. I would any day have an Alpina B5, although very expensive. So,
Luke, which I can imagine. I'm also hopping on the BMW wagon.
Yeah,
of course I am. What a surprise!
Just doing things right.
What a surprise! And again, like you said, you want something that's practical for modern. Like with a Volvo, you can just mess around and have fun and stuff, but you still want to take the family and do the casual school run every now and again. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
The BMW I went for is the 340i.
Oh, the M34. So not an M3?
No, not an M3.
Okay, that is interesting. Please elaborate.
3 liter turbocharged inline 6.
Inline 6.
Yeah, inline 6. 0 to 60, 4.5 seconds, which is
quick
more
enough.
Than enough. And the best thing, it is X-Drive, but it is rear wheel biased, so you can drift it. Donuts. And it looks stunning. I mean,
it looks very good.
It looks
I am
great.
So for the looks
it's
of
practical.
That car.
It's not the biggest estate you'll have, but it's more than enough than what you're going to do with it.
Fine.
Yeah, 100% fine. The cost as well is lower than any of the other. It's not as expensive as you can normally get for your M ranges.
But it's not your CCC3. It's not your RS4.
And it's not S4, like it's not having 43. Like the M5 or the M3 or the M4 and stuff. This is the M Sport batch, so that's why it's like the 340 or.
It's the same with the M5 competition. Like, what did you choose between the M5 or the M550i X-Drive? Like, it's a bit of an M5 light, such as the 340 is an M3 light.
It falls into the M Sport,
and you can't go wrong. Badge. Like, if you really want the M3, you can.
Exactly.
But that M340 is more than enough.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's fast, it's stunning, practical. It's relatively fuel efficient. Obviously, if you don't rip it around a corner every now and again. But that's just straight up practicality and looks.
You'll win 95% of the drag races off the red.
Well, that's if BMW's launch controls decides to work.
Yes, that is a problem.
This is a discussion for another episode.
Yeah, but
BMW's
I don't know
launch
what's going
control
on is. Please just fix it.
Fix your launch control, guys. Honestly.
Otherwise, like, I'm not happy. Like, of course, I have went to BMW and inquired about the new M3 Touring, and I said, listen, I'll put down a deposit now, although it's 0.5%. I'm going to pay it off within the next 70 years, I promise. So, and I mean, I'm a faithful customer, if you ask me. So I'm joking. Anyway,
Just talking absolute nonsense.
The BMW,
yeah, I don't know.
winning.
Yeah,
It's winning. But I really like the M340i. Just
Great
interesting
car.
on the M340.
Mm.
So another car that is precisely the same car in terms of platform, engine, performance is the X340 X3 M40i. That's what you call it. So also like the X3M Lite.
Yeah.
And very much the same performance, very much the same stats and figures, but so much cheaper than the M340i, which is interesting because you'd think it's, well, sort of the same price, but actually you pay much more for the M340i, which is a bit of a shame because, I think it is a much more appealing car than the X3M. But it's just interesting. It just reminds me of Mercedes also with the GT53 and CLS53. You'll struggle to find major differences that distinguish those cars.
I mean,
Yet the
BMW
GT
is like
so much more expensive.
It's like having rabbits in a factory, and they're just making babies, and then you just get all these cars 525 and 530 and
the one has a black
534,
dot and the one has a green dot, and that's how it's
like
different.
it just does. There's no stopping to the amount of models that BMW has.
That's also the same with Mercedes, but I think that'll be a very cool conversation to have. Also, like brands that are just going crazy with models. Like AMG has something like between 20 and 30 variations of AMGs, whereas this was 20, 30 years ago where there was like 3 or 4 AMGs. So that would be a very interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, definitely.
But our favorite segment is here, the Peter Cruiser segment. For those who are watching for the first time, Luke and I were debating what would we choose between the Peter Cruiser hardtop or the convertible. We chose the hardtop and tinted windows because you don't want to be seen driven in that car.
Exactly.
And we said, okay, we know the Peter Cruiser is very uncool, but let's have a rating system in this podcast where we take cars and we ask each other, how would you rate this? So I'm going to start off with our first car, and mine is a 911 Speedster. I love this car. I love Porsches.
But I don't know Porsches that well. Just give me a second.
So,
continue talking.
No, I'll explain it to you. Don't worry.
I want to see
So the 911. Okay. 911 Speedster is meant. It's not a cabriolet. 911 Carrera cabriolet. It's actually a GT3 without a roof. So yes, you have a roof that you buy a hand.
Yes,
that you take off that massive carbon fiber back rear deck lid. You put on the Speedster top, whatever, whenever it's raining. But this car is meant to be driven without that. This car is meant to be driven in sunshine, in rain, with no top. Interestingly enough, when you put the top on, you can't see the Speedster badge. Only when you take it off.
When you see the Speedster.
Because it's
clever,
that's
forcing you to take off your roof.
Yeah, so take off your roof.
Bastards.
But this is basically a GT3 without a roof. So 500
This is
horsepower.
stunning. This is
4
absolutely
litre flat
stunning.
6 naturally aspirated. It sounds heavenly. Like, I don't know of a car that sounds as good as this thing. 0 to 60, who cares? Like, that thing is all about raw driving emotion. Although you have your mechanics and such, it only comes out in manual, if I'm right. So it forces you to also have some driver involvement. I'm not even going to ponder about this one. Like, this is by far cool. Like, I would love one in the garage.
Stunning car.
Like,
it's great for what you're gonna do. And
you're
everything,
not going to find fault. Oh, we also have a dog here. His name is Lego. Hello, Lego. Lego's okay. He's
lying
going to
down
sleep
on the
now.
carpet.
That's amazing for us.
We'll show him in a bit. Don't worry.
Yeah. So that's the GT3. No, 911 Speedster, and that's Lego. Two different things.
But yeah, we agree. Cool.
Lego's much more inconsistent though.
But
I think his handling is a bit better around sharper corners.
He struggles a bit, especially on tiles, because long nails and stuff. It doesn't. So the grip is struggling in the
a lot
wet.
of wheel spin.
A lot of wheel spin. Sometimes a bit of understeer as well.
Oh, I see. I see. But it's probably like mid corner push throttle, and even go oversteer from there.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a bit of an issue, but
it's unhappy when it's cold. So like
he's a manual, so the thing is you can keep on spinning even though.
Oh, okay.
See, it's like power sliding in that sense. So manual. He runs
clutch
on
kick to get the rear loose.
He runs on beefenol.
Beefenol. Oh wow!
So he's an absolute monster. Miles per gallon. I think is about 80 miles per gallon. 80
miles per miles, even more.
Yeah. No. So he's a proper machine.
Luke, you may go on with your
Probably heard of the company Bowler. Bowler.
Oh yeah, they have the I don't know what you
The
call
Bowler
it.
EXRS.
Oh, I was thinking you call.
You
I know
thinking
the
of
Bolo with the. Is
the
it the
Wild-
Defender body?
the Evoque.
No.
Oh, you're
There's
thinking of the
Bolo
previous? Yeah.
with the Defender body basically has
Yes,
a
yes,
5
yes.
liter V8 supercharged.
Supercharged V8. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the Jaguar engine if I'm right.
Yeah. So they take
But
that and
is
they
it
put
this
it in.
car? Is it?
It's the same engine. It just has a bit more power in this one.
Okay.
But this is based around the Evoque's body. So it's like the new age
Oh.
independent suspension, 550 horsepower.
So it's like Evoque SVR.
In a sense, it's just way more intense.
Okay.
Like it's got a roll cage, independent
Okay.
suspension,
So
bucket seats.
Yeah.
You don't have windows. You've got little holes on the
Oh,
side
really?
that you slide it open. Limited to 155 miles an hour
Yeah, because
in a 4-wheel drive, 5 liter supercharged V8.
Oh,
wow. 700 pound-feet of torque. 4.5 seconds 0
which
to
is like
60.
950 or something.
Yeah, it's
Newton meters.
ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I mean, the sound on this thing is just.
Oh, it's raw, yeah.
It's the most impractical car. I think it's road legal, but it's the most impractical car you will ever probably get. But I mean, who cares?
Likely.
If you're driving around a 900 Newton meter, 500 horsepower.
But would you even drive this on the road? Is this meant to be driven on the road?
No, not at all. This is meant to take. If you see a service road next to the main road, you can drive through a ditch.
Yeah.
Probably drive over the barrier without having something because the wheels are just about yay high.
Yeah.
And not have any trouble with it. If you think the new Defender's entry and exit degrees are good,
The gradients.
They can enter and exit. You should see this thing. I mean, it's insane. Anyway,
Yeah.
point is Bowler. They've done it again. The first Bowler I think they had was it the Tomcat or something.
I can't remember the
But
name
I think
now, but
I
know of the
Richard
Defender
Hammond
one.
raced it against a jet powered kayak
Oh wow.
once. I don't know. I think that was the first Bowler, and then it went obviously to the Defender body that they had.
powered kayak.
Yeah, don't even go there.
That's amazing.
And then this.
I
So
want one.
I would love a car like this, but it's not practical in any sense. You don't have. You can probably stuff a few stuff in between the roll cage and stuff, but I mean, that's not the point of the car. The point of the car is to
It's
go
a
find
toy.
a field. It's a toy.
It's
exactly.
a toy, by far.
It's like what they
It's
use
what
the
you drive in
Defenders for
Dubai.
in the new James Bond movie. I don't know if you've seen that promotional video where they flip cars on their backs and
I've seen.
yeah.
I've seen. It's ridiculous. So yeah, this car is very much what you would go drive around in if you were in Dubai, somewhere near a desert.
Desert, green fields, take it up a mountain.
muddy fields, Iceland somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Formula, what? I think they call it Formula Iceland or something. Anyway,
Something in
quite extreme.
that regard. Take it to Scotland and rip
Also,
it around.
I don't know if you saw, but
Mhm.
Lewis Hamilton started a racing team.
He
I think
did?
it's called the X44 and it's for Extreme E Racing or something like that.
X44
I can't
racing.
remember. But anyway, we'll chat about it.
Well,
But
let's
he
stop
started a racing team. Because
Well, there's a slot open since Williams left now, so now
Williams left now. Alpine replaced Renault, but Renault will still be
the name.
basic. Yeah. So they're still a constructor. The Williams family left, so Williams is still part of it.
It's
Williams
just,
family has just exited the team, so it's new management, and hopefully they will become what they once were again, because
Yes.
that company and their car is in shambles at the moment. Like it's not what it is supposed to be.
struggling a lot.
Yeah. So
But-
Formula One is very interesting at the moment. We actually did an Instagram live not
Before
too
we
long
completely lose the plot, where do you rate this
Oh.
Polo?
ago. Oh yeah, we still with that segment. Oh, so I'm like very much dead average. Okay.
I'm here because I'm a dumbass, but it's fine.
I'm like the only reason now I'm not PD Cruiser is because of the sound and the engine. But I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of Evo,
but
so
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm just not interested. Anyway, so back in the Formula One, which is also off topic, but we had an Instagram live this week with F1 Podium Chat on Instagram, and we will do it every single week after a race, just to have a recap on what happened the weekend, what is news. Quite a short video just to get you in the know of what's going on in Formula One. That is Lego. Manual rear-wheel drive. He's a bit
Straight
tired
6
now.
or flat 4. I don't know what
Flat 4, straight
flat
6,
4.
whatever it may be.
Sometimes he's an inline 5 if he sees a pretty goal, but that's about it.
Oh, so it's like cylinder
Exactly.
decoupling.
For fuel economy.
For fuel, of course, yeah. As the modern cars do. But thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Enjoyed this chat. As we said, next
think
episodes will be with guests. Don't worry about it. If you get tired of us, tell us.
Read a book.
Read a book. Yeah. Any book. Books are good. But anyway, as we usually end off our podcast, well, not usually end off our podcast, stay in school. Don't do drugs. Cars are much cheaper. Well, loving cars.
Loving cars, yeah. Cars aren't cheaper, but loving cars are cheaper.
Loving cars are cheaper.
You can buy posters for cheaper than
you don't have to pay a cent to watch this podcast. So, thank you again. Like, share, subscribe, like the common YouTuber says. But it's for good reason. But anyway, from me and Luke, we are out. Cheers.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers.